Hi, welcome to our channel True Up. Many businesses in the global technology sector have been astounded by Huawei's 5G technology's ongoing innovation in recent years. Additionally, the hegemonic US will impose a number of penalties as a result. For instance, Huawei is frequently accused of fabricating allegations, which encourages other European and American nations to boycott Huawei. Canada has barred Huawei and ZTE and asserted that they would be prohibited from taking part in the building of the 5G network owing to national security concerns. This is undoubtedly a reason to repress China. National security will not be impacted by Huawei and ZTE's 5G technologies, according to no clear, solid proof. There are now a large number of nations that continue their collaboration with Huawei, and security issues are non-existent. Even a secret British intelligence agency broke into Huawei to look into the validity of Huawei's claims that its 5G equipment was secure, but the probe turned up nothing. The 5G technology from Huawei does not threaten or impact national security, according to the facts. Canada chose incorrectly this time. How come Canada imposed a ban? What effects would the banning of Huawei and ZTE equipment have on Canada? Can Canada's strict policies and stern attitude truly have a positive impact on the country? Let's bring up these inquiries so we may locate the solution in this video. Why did Canada impose a ban on ZTE and Huawei products? On May 19, François-Philippe Champagne, Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry of Canada, announced that the Canadian government had decided to ban Huawei and ZTE from taking part in the development of Canada's 5G communication network and to dismantle the installed equipment without paying the company any compensation out of consideration for national information security. China is extremely concerned and disappointed by this, and it pledges to take all necessary steps to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese businesses. The US will collectively refer to competitors as enemy in order to dominate the 5G market. In the viewpoint of the United States, Huawei is the adversary. Even as recently as last year, the US gave Canada the order to jail Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. Why does Canada act in this way? The United States continues to utilize its national strength and international standing to limit Huawei while also wanting to look into and seize Huawei's evidence. However, Canada opted to support the United States and wanted to work together to first restrain the potent Huawei, but in reality, it was merely harmful rumors based on Huawei-related concern. The United States is Huawei's main competitor right now, but it also has to deal with unwarranted boycotts from other nations. How can Canada demolish ZTE and Huawei hardware? Canada told the outside world on September 19 at local time in Ottawa that it would not allow so-called high-risk vendors to operate on the country's 5G network. This implies that, even if the installed equipment must be withdrawn as a result, Canadian telecommunications businesses are not permitted to use any of their goods or services while building the network. And it's remarkable to see that this list includes two Chinese businesses, Huawei and ZTE. In addition to the statement, Canada has given vendors until June 2024 to remove any Huawei and ZTE 5G equipment. In addition, all associated 4G equipment that has been deployed will be totally destroyed by the end of 2027. The damages and expenditures spent during the demolition process will not be reimbursed by the Canadian government. The Canadian government has placed restrictions on prospective acquisitions or uses of Huawei and ZTE equipment in addition to removing current equipment. The Canadian telecom sector will stop buying 4G or 5G equipment and services from Huawei or ZTE by September 2022, and it will stop using any 5G equipment or services from these companies by May 2024, according to the federal government. Ceased using any 4G devices or services made by ZTE or Huawei months ago. Nevertheless, Canada is committed to removing all Huawei and ZTE machinery from the telecom industry. Additionally, the Canadian government will propose legislation to update the country's current Telecommunications Act. According to the statement, the law will assist Canada's communications infrastructure and protect national security in the transportation, energy, and financial industries. If this law is passed, it might further show how determined Canada is to stop using Chinese technology for network building. How do we assess Canada's behavior? Sense or folly? First off, it is ludicrous that ZTE and Huawei were added to Canada's list of high-risk suppliers in terms of security. Regardless of the numerous companies ZTE and Huawei have operated across the world, everyone is aware of the strong reputation they have built. Furthermore, the German cybersecurity regulator declared that there is no proof that Huawei's goods or services would be utilized to pose a danger to national security following a thorough study of Huawei's equipment and services in Germany. This is obviously not the best course of action for Canada. Huawei holds the majority of the world's 5G technology patents and the most cutting-edge technology in the world, particularly under the current global 5G wave. This time, Canada rejects Huawei, which indicates that sophisticated 5G technology is also rejected. It is in no way advantageous for building Canada's own network. Furthermore, Canada made it plain that no compensation would be given, and that the network operator and Huawei would split any award. This is not just detrimental to Chinese businesses, but it is also seriously detrimental to local Canadian businesses. If a smooth transition cannot be made throughout the process of dismantling and replacing, it will also have an effect on the local network and the lives of Canadians. Although Canada has made its position clear this time, Chinese businesses may find it more challenging to work with Canadian businesses in the future, but the two businesses will not be significantly impacted. Because the two businesses' activity in Canada this time only comprises a tiny portion, not the majority, of base station building, and because this portion has previously been steadily reduced. According to Alikhan Velshi, Vice President of Corporate Relations at Huawei Canada, the company still employs more than 1,500 people in Canada who work in R&D, sales, and other related fields. The follow-up collaboration between Chinese firms and Canadian companies, in my opinion, is where Canada's declaration this time will have the most of an influence. This time, Canada's involvement arbitrarily barred Chinese businesses, upsetting the market economy and the flow of goods and services. This time, the two Chinese enterprises are significant international corporations with operations not just in Canada but throughout the whole world. The Canadian local businesses are the most impacted since the declining Canadian market also allows the two businesses to concentrate more on the more hospitable market. Can Canada's strict policies and stern attitude truly have a positive impact on the country? Is the genuine goal to safeguard national security? This time, Canada's statement appears to be made for the benefit of its own national security, but it really works against the country's objectives. Although the action is intended to boycott Chinese businesses, local Canadian businesses are also harmed. Rejecting IT businesses because of some ridiculous claim would undoubtedly do more harm than good. Thanks for watching our video. We would appreciate it if you subscribed our channel and gave us a thumb. See you.